bonjour. Those of you who know your godmother, and God bless, I love you all. You know I'm not going anywhere. I don't go anywhere. So I am traveling virtually from country to country with my favorite horror films. And this month will be France. And there will be an accent terrible. I mean, I can't help myself. I'm going to do a little bit of an accent. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It has to happen. It has to happen. So, when we think of French horror films, well, first of all, when we think about French films, they're sort of, they're classy, they're bougie, they're lush. And then the French horror film it goes into gore in ways that we tend to not see in American horror films. Now, my first pick, number 10, goes against that bougie, lush. And some of you might argue it's not even horror, but I feel it fits under that umbrella. My personal opinion, and this is just a godmother's opinion, is that the umbrella for horror is very large. And it does contain creature features. So number 10 is Under Paris, Under Paris, or Sous la Seine from 2024. And this was directed by Xavier Gens and starring Berenice Bejo and Nassim Lies. And this movie is fun. It's crazy. A widowed marine biologist must try to find the shark that is trapped beneath Paris. Dun, dun, dun. This is the same shark that killed her husband. And guess what? There's a huge triathlon scheduled where competitors will be swimming in that very same water where the shark is. And guess what? This shark was pregnant and gave birth to many, many hungry baby sharks. So for number 9, we have another Under Paris setting. And no, it's not Les Miserables. It's better. Number 9 is Deep Fear. And this is about a group of friends who explore the catacombs in the early 1990s. It's from 2022, but it takes place in the early 1990s. Directed by Gregory Behan and starring Sophia Lassoff and Joseph Olivenez. Like most subterranean films, this is really dark. There are actual scenes where you're kind of like peering, trying to see what's going on. Like The Descent, if you are claustrophobic, this will not be a fun film for you because they do kind of scooch through these tight little spaces. And for most of the film, they are under Paris. They are in the catacombs, and you can't really see too far. When they show the cameras, you can't really see an exit, can't see how to get out, and they get lost. They get lost under there. So this is not for claustrophobic people. Things go really wrong while they're in the catacombs. We have an underground chase with skinheads. We have some gruesome injuries, and we have La Dernière Fille. Sort of. This one's, number 9 for a reason. It's not further up, but it's definitely atmospheric. And the setting is creepy enough that it would please most horror fans. Even though, the twist to it, I was not really thrilled with, the atmosphere kept me going. Your godmother loves scuba diving. That's my world. That's where I'm happy. That's where I'm carefree. I never, ever, ever want to come back up to the surface. So my number 8 on the list is The Deep House from 2021, directed by Alexandre Bustillo and Julien Maury. Remember these names. And starring James Jagger. Yes, he is related to that Jagger. And Camille Rowe. The poster for this one's really cool if you've seen it. But what it's about is our couple, James and Camille, the actors, go to a spot in France to seek out a sanatorium that's submerged in an artificial lake. But when they get there, it's like a real touristy tourist trap. So there's a local man named Pierre, bien sûr, named Pierre, and he offers to take them to an isolated branch of the lake. Like, this is where the tourists don't know about. This is where, only I know about it. Where we can go to the forest of Chanteloup. And there's an area there that was artificially submerged in 1984 to prevent these frequent devastating floods. Like, this area kept getting flooded anyway, so they just decided to submerge it, and nobody knows about it, so you can go diving there. So where he's leading them beneath the water contains this mansion, which he tells them has remained perfectly preserved. So they dive down to it. And there are some fantastic underwater shots. It's really quite cool, the underwater shots. I loved it. I love that part of it. And they find out that all is not what it seems beneath the surface of the water. I'm not going to give anything away, but there are some twists and turns and scary jump scares. Number 7 is my controversial pick due to it being a love-or-hate-it film, which I'm actually on neither. I'm in neither camp. I'm kind of in the middle with it. So I'm not often the outlier, but here we are. Titane is from 2021 and directed by Julia Ducournau. Remember that name too. And starring Agathe Roussel as a young child who was injured in a car crash, and she had to have a titanium plate fitted in her head due to the accident. In adulthood, Alexia, this person with the titanium, in her head, she becomes a murderous car model with an erotic fascination with automobiles. She's sexually attracted to automobiles. Yeah, all of it. It won the Palme d'Or, so there's something here. And that something's pretty wild. It's beautifully and creatively shot. It really is. There's like these music video type scenes, which I have come to find Ducournau, relies on, not just in this film, but in others. And I love the way she does that. There's lots of murder here. There's gore. That like I said, that gore that we've come to expect from French films, n'est-ce pas? They do not flinch away. They take on that violence without blinking. There is also an odd pregnancy, a forged identity, which requires, a cross-gender presentation, and some very unusual bodily secretions. Number 6 is Ils, or Them, from 2006, directed by David Moreau. Remember this name as well. And Xavier Palude, starring Olivia Bonamy and Michael Cohen. In this one, a couple moves to this secluded, beautiful country home in Romania. And they move because the wife has taken a job in Romania as professeur française. They are in Bucharest. Now, Gothic horror fans, we kind of perk up when Romania is mentioned. We know we should be expecting something. But this kind of goes away from the Gothic into a different arena, which is home invasion. And if you've been following my movie reviews, you know that home invasion is the godmother's favorite in terms of being the scariest type of horror film there is, because it feels so real. So this couple, again, in their secluded, beautiful home, one night they start to hear noises, and and checking it out, they are being tormented by these home invaders. And again, it feels very real. Like, who hasn't heard a strange noise in the middle of the night, or who hasn't been in their home and felt not completely alone? Like, maybe there's someone or something else in there with them. The invaders are faceless, and then they are, in the last act, they are exposed. And there is a bit of a twist here. So if you have not seen this film, stay away from Rotten Tomatoes and IMDb, because they flat out tell you who the invaders are. I didn't know. The first time I saw this, I didn't know, and I preferred it that way. I preferred being a little surprised at who the tormentors were. with this film, there's very little plot. It's just really them being tormented. The characters are not fully developed, but it is tense as heck. And the attack seems to be coming from all sides. Number 5 is Saloon from 2021, directed by Jean-Luc Abelot and starring Jan Gale and Evelyn Lilly-Johan. This is a spaghetti western supernatural horror film. It's so unique. This is why it's number 5, and I recommend this to a lot of people because it is just unique. And it is about a trio of mercenaries escaping a coup in Guinea-Bissau, and they take refuge in a hidden region on the Saloum River in Senegal, hence the name of the film. But something is waiting for them there. Something's kind of like stalking them, but one person in particular, and there's a whole reason for it. There's a whole backstory for it that is slowly uncovered. This movie is in French with subtitles. It's also in Wolof, which is the local dialect in Saloum, and military sign language. And I was thrilled to see the sign language. I knew it wasn't really ASL, but I recognized a lot of it. So I was like, what is this? And that's why I looked it up to see what it was. And it makes sense because these people are mercenaries. Many of them are military people. And at first I was like, well, why are they doing sign language? Why do they have a deaf character in this film? Is this just window dressing? But it is not. There is a reason. There's a rationale behind the deaf character that makes a lot of sense. There's substance to it. I'm not going to give it away. This movie reminded me of the African movie His House, in the sense that the evil is always like in your periphery. It's not quite here, it's here. You're getting these little glimpses of things to the side. And I love that. It's such a masterful way to film it. Again, a unique film, very well acted, and it kept me riveted throughout. Number 4 is Raw from 2016, directed by Julia Ducournau. Remember her from Titane? And starring Garance Marie and Ella Rumpf. And I messed up their names, I know. This movie's about a lifelong vegetarian. Her parents didn't even give her meat. There was no meat in her household growing up. Everybody's a vegetarian. No one is eating meat. She goes off to veterinarian school and develops a desire for consuming flesh of all kinds. This movie incorporates dread, but also there's this sexiness to it as this main character, as she is desiring flesh, she's also coming into her own. She's starting to really, think about sex and sexuality and her body and her power, her sexual power. I love the scene where she's dancing in front of the mirror and putting on makeup. And also, one of my favorite scenes is where she fights with her sister. And by fight, I mean a physical fight that looks very real. Ducournau is quite the director. Raw is an amazing film. Number 3 is The Night Eats the World, or La Nuit a dévoré le monde. It's a 2018 French zombie film directed by Dominique Rocher and starring Anders Danielsen Lai, who he basically carries the entire movie. He's alone for most of the movie, except for zombies appearing and things. It's crazy to me how much this film has a COVID feel. But with it being released in 2018, it's certainly not a reflection on the isolation the virus can cause. It's more like a prediction. The zombies in this film are incredibly creepy. I am kind of nitpicky with zombies. I like a particular type of zombie. These, they move funny, but they make this weird, they can't speak, but they make this weird sound in their throat, they're constantly making this sound, and it's so creepy. So even if you don't enjoy zombie films, though, I would recommend this film because of the performance of Anders Danielsen Lai, who, again, he's by himself through most of it. And it really shines a light on, it's almost like a psychological study, I should say, on loneliness and ennui and how that affects you. It's creatively done. This film is innovative and creative. It's beautifully shot. The acting's wonderful. If you enjoy zombie films, you're going to love it. But I think even if you do not, you will enjoy it as well. Okay, when I said I love Home Invasion, I wasn't lying. It is one of my favorites, which is why number 2 is Inside, or À l'intérieur, from 2007, directed by Alexandre Bustillo and Julian Moray. Remember, they were from The Deep House. They were the directors from The Deep House. And starring Alison Paradis and Beatrice Dahl. Beatrice Dahl scared the daylights out of me. I'm not ashamed to admit that. That whole night after I watched it, I thought she was in my closet. She was so creepy to me. What a great performance. This movie is about a woman who lost her husband while she was pregnant. She's scheduled to give birth and be induced on Christmas. I don't know why they would induce someone on Christmas Day, but I'm not, part of the French hospital system, so I don't know. But she's really not the glowing, excited mother because she's still grieving. She's grieving the loss of her husband. She's really disassociating from the entire experience. So she goes home. It's Christmas Eve. She's at home, just waiting for the next day to give birth. And this crazy woman who's just called La Femme breaks into her home and wants the baby. And the majority of the film is this poor pregnant woman just being chased around this house by this crazy psycho. This film is gory, and there is tons of body horror. I mean, pregnancy itself is body horror, but this really, I watched it like this. Like I was like this through my fingers watching most of it. And again, I was just so terrified of La Femme. I just kept checking my closet and under my bed for her the entire evening. Okay, number 1 is one of my favorite films across the board. It doesn't matter if it's French. This is one of my favorite films of all time. Definitely one of my top films of this century. And that is Mads from 2024, directed by David Moreau, who was from Ills. And I should have just made this like my top French directors or something, because we keep seeing the same ones over and over again. This is starring Lucille Guillaume, who I love, and I now mimic her all the time. I can't, she was mind-blowing to me in this film. And Milton Riche. What this movie is about is a teenager stops off to see his drug dealer, and he's going to test a new drug before heading off to a night of partying. On the way home, he picks up an injured woman, and then suddenly things go really weird. Now, what is so important about Mads is that the entire film was filmed in one shot. And I've watched this film multiple times because I love it, but also I get like right up on it, and I'm trying to see the shot. I'm trying to see how it moves, and I'm trying to catch them in a lie and see them like having a cut in the film, and I can't find a cut. I believe them. I believe it's one shot. It's amazing. And the effect of it being one shot, you just feel like you're in there. It just sucks you right in. You feel like you're in there. This is formidable. Fantastique. Je l'adore. I love it. I love it. I can't say enough about Mads. I've told everyone I know about it. If you have not seen it, you have to watch it. You have to watch it at least once, or you can be crazy like me and watch it multiple times and just study it. Study it for the piece of art that it is. It is impeccable. So thank you for sticking with me through this countdown. I'm going to be going down under next month. And I promise I won't be doing Australian accents. I hope I won't. I probably won't. So if you don't want to miss my top 10 Australian horror films, click that subscribe button.